album Trident.
That is true.
You were talking about it, and I was like, I'm familiar with that record, and I went in.
Basically, we met through mutual friends, I think, first.
Yeah.
And then we were in Wayne Wallace's big band, and that's when we really started collaborating musically.
Yeah, that's what we were both like, oh, this other person can write, oh, this person can play.
Wayne had us both writing for the band. Murasaki is actually a chart that I wrote, and we performed as the big band, and he wrote a couple charts that were fantastic as well. And so that's how we got to know each other as composers, rather than just musicians and friends.
This project was actually Matt's idea originally. He approached me. Basically, the idea came to him after the officers who killed Michael Brown and Eric Garner were not indicted. And he said, what can I possibly do? And so he thought it would be a good idea for us to try to fill a niche that was not being filled in the jazz scene at the moment.
When I had the reaction to some of the things that were happening in the States, Hannah was the person I thought, Hannah should be the person helping me do this.
Because my big band compositions had already had a social justice bent to them.
Right.
And even though your compositions in the Way the Walls band weren't necessarily social justice, you were interested in getting into that.
Right. And I knew that Hannah was like a strong composer and could play very, very well. Playing these instruments. So that made sense. We complement each other well.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, here's a whole bunch of ideas, and Hannah's like, why don't we learn how to execute those ideas one step at a time?
So, can you talk a little bit about maybe the musical or spiritual predecessors to this effort? What inspired you?
Charlie Hayden's Liberation Music Orchestra
is probably the most direct spiritual predecessor. Charlie Hayden's Liberation Music Orchestra. But there's a very, very long and rich tradition in jazz of socially provocative music. You've got Max Roach's Freedom Suite, you've got Lucas Stables of Faubus, you've got Duke Ellington writing Black Beauty in 1929. I mean, the first racially, first racial commentary song, Black and Blue, Andy Razaf, again in the 1920s. Jazz has been a socially provocative music for a very, very long time, and that has kind of been lost recently.
Yeah, it's been provocative for longer than it hasn't. Mm-hmm. And so the shift back should be natural, I think.
And we don't want to go back in time. Again, when you're bringing in all the musical things that have happened in the 20th and 21st centuries, looking forward, but just bringing jazz into that mix because it's so central in American music and so central in crafting American identity that we want it to be part of all, at least our socially provocative music looking towards the future.